Hello, welcome back to Battenburg Hospital, Year 4, with me, not really Dr. Peck, playing Not Really Theme Hospital. The Core 6 open source version of Theme Hospital, updated for the modern computers, because if you try and play it on anything more modern than XP, I think, Theme Hospital doesn't work very well. And also, you can't do things like this in the original. You can zoom in and out in a very slow and laborious kind of manner. Anyway, first order of business before talking about the zoom levels is to apologise sincerely, since from the last time I played, which according to game data is the 19th of June. So I think the last video must have been around about the same time, 19th, 20th, 21st of June. I could go and check, but I'm not going to. So there. Anyway, let's unpause the game because I've got quite a few years to go and it seems folly to pause the game when I could just be talking. Also, if I sound a little strange today, that's because I am. Morrissey lyrics there. If I sound a little strange, that's because I am. It's also got a little bandages over my ears, so I can't actually. I've got headphones in one ear, kind of perching in it, so I can also hear outside and sort of can't hear anything out of the other one. So I can't get sort of feedback from my own voice from talking. So it might be a bit loud, a bit quiet, so it might sound a bit odd. Oh, I've killed somebody. Crikey, theatres. Operating theatre's popular. Yes, it is with me anyway. So yeah, I've got bandages all over my ears, so I've actually been in hospital myself again, in between playing Theme Hospital. It seems to be a kind of a running theme with me. Let's catch up on some correspondence as well. I figure if I actually comment in the videos themselves about people who've commented, I might get more of them. I like getting comments because of the little notification that comes up in the side, like that little bell turns red and then flashes with a 1. You go, ooh, somebody's talking to me. You also get an email notification. So yeah, I've got one from a user called Zach the Fallen. What he's fallen over, I'm not quite sure. But he suggested that my money-grasping technique of charging 200% for diagnosis isn't particularly a good idea, because at the diagnosis phase, patients can just leave, and if they just leave, they get unhappy. So what I might do is lower diagnosis to 125%, keep people, just, quick them in, like that Nationwide advert with, never mind. Hoik them in with good rates, and then once they're here, then charge them a lot for the actual treatment. A little bit like banking, isn't it? You sort of hoik them in with good rates for the first year or so, and then change it all for existing companies. I don't know. Ooh, can I not cure something? Well, apparently I'm concentrating on alien DNA. You could have fooled me. Yes, but this isn't supposed to be a commentary on the banking system, because that just seems a bit out of place when playing a game about hospitals and such. The other piece of advice I got was also staff are a lot happier with larger rooms. So this fella here must be tremendously happy. Get up and get out. So what I might do over the course of the next few years, because if you recall, I got a. Your people are quite unhappy. They're not my people. Makes me sound like a benevolent dictator. My people are unhappy. They look fairly content to me. I've got quite a way to go on all fronts, apart from hospital volume, which I've managed to pump up to a ridiculous degree. So there. It's far too cold. Place irrigators. You're not very happy. I can see why you're not very happy. I also need to pay my staff properly, that probably helps. So what I'm going to do over the course of this go home is to resize the rooms. So what I might start by doing is just buying all these plots here, so I know what kind of area I've got to play around with. Well, of course it's cold, it's February. What do you want me to do about it? Spend money. trying to think of what I can improve. That ultra scan looks a bit small, so I'll move that. Take that out and put that over here. I can't believe it. Is it this level or another one where I discovered the ultra scan before I discovered the scanner itself? Actually, I think it is this one because I can't see a scanner about anywhere. Another unhappy member of staff. They know how to pick the moments. Fine, but only because I can't bother to train this video, and I'm rather flushed with, well, success and cash. Won't get out. Remove the blood machine, make that a nice big room over here. Was that 2 earthquakes on the trot? I hope it wasn't. We seem fine. I was rather nonchalant about that, if truth be told. So, the possibility of machines blowing up. Well. Those things happen at sea. I wonder what the effect of well, I suppose the effect of an earthquake at sea would be tidal waves, wouldn't it? Which would be problematic. And like really problematic, not in a kind of social justice kind of problematic way. You said something inconvenient, that's problematic. That seems like a bit of a weird word. I think might have the ick on the end of it, problematic. Awful pertaining to a problem. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. Let's resize this X-ray. And that didn't really seem worth the effort. Probably a good idea to have the screen facing the X-ray. Having said that, I have learnt in the recent past that they used to have just X-ray machines in shoe shops that you could just with no protection or anything like that, just there, and you could look at your feet and look at all the bone structures in it. That was in the 50s when things like that were good for you, including smoking and drinking. Or as people believed it was so. Happier times. Apparently radiation was good for you as well. I was reading actually while I was in hospital. There's nothing quite so boring as being in hospital when there's not much wrong with you, because you just sat around doing very little all day. I got through quite a bit of reading though, and one of the books I was reading was The Thunderbolt Kid by Bill Bryson, which he describes his childhood growing up in 50s America. That sounded fascinating, because it wasn't just about him and his childhood, which sounded quite idyllic, if I must be honest. Middle America, middle class, suburbia America. It sounds rather wonderful. In the middle of a golden age for white middle class, middle American. So, yeah, you get the idea. But it's sort of describing how nuclear was all the rage, and people used to go to while they're on trips to Las Vegas. That's the one. Well, they'll also, while they were there, go and see a testing of an atom bomb. Actually go and watch it, and then while the scientists were measuring all the Geiger counters afterwards, would get themselves measured with Geiger counters. And it'll be a lot of fun, and say, "Oh, look how high my radiation levels are. Oh dear, oh wonderful." And then 20 years down the line, you get cancer. But that was for another decade. This was the 50s, when things like that were good for you. Anyway, I've spent so much time talking, I forgot what I'm supposed to be doing. The scanner's still full price. I know. I'll concentrate research. If I do that specialisation and tell them to focus on diagnosis. I can't see it. Never mind then. I imagine there's supposed to be a scanner on there, but perhaps you need to build it first before you can focus on it. You're all queuing for the GP's office because he is just standing around doing nothing. One of the problems with playing an open source game, which is on version 0.30, I think. So there's quite a bit of work to do. I think that room's a little bit big. Let's trouble is, I've got a lot of space here, but I don't want to move the clinics too far. Oh, what do you want? I'll get... Oh. I'll have to rebuild that now. Yes, what? Electrolysis clinic. Yes, I want nice big rooms, but I don't want them to walk too far from the helipad. But then walking through there and up there and round there, it's not too far, is it? Actually, no, I'll just stick to where it is and make the DNA fix a little bit bigger. Put lots of windows in because this is a fascinating treatment and everyone should watch it. I certainly did. I remember last video I zoomed in for a nice close-up on what turned out to be a lady. Rather unfortunate for her. I want to resize the DNA fixer. Like that. Oh, that's the reason I didn't get rid of that researcher, because I need them for this machine here. What are we on to? April. Perhaps it's a good time to turn off the heating. Push. How about if I make that? That's probably fair enough. I'll make the slack tongue clinic a little bit bigger. And what I can build in this area here is just a replica, perhaps, of these clinics. Anticipating the day when I'll get lots of patients, it'll become very busy. There, right. Yes. Let's point out the version number and what's changed to... why isn't that psychiatrist going to the... No, he's going to be unhappy and then I'll have to pay for it. In fact, yes. Called it! Fine. Is he being paid more than 300 now? Because if he is, I'm going to have to get rid of him. No, you're just safe. Just. Yeah, I was talking about the differences between the Cortex version and the original version with another commenter called Lord Asriel. Well, I've got written down here, Lord Ariel. Must have missed the S out. I don't think it was the one from the books, his Dark Materials trilogy by Philip Pullman. Though it's probably based upon it. I was wondering where all the rats were, and I said oh, it started with the animation at the end of the levels, you know, to promote it onto the next level, where screen used to go blank and then a paper and a letter would appear and get that music of yes, thank you very much, thank you. And they come with a typewriter and it'd say, "Dear sir, madam, you've done well at this hospital, blah 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 blah." The thing that's now been replaced with just a green thing that comes down at the bottom. That's missing from this version. We also pointed out that rats are no longer here. They've not been implemented yet, and that includes those rat levels. You know, the fun ones where the aim of the game was to shoot as many rats as possible. They were quite entertaining. I quite enjoyed them. I think you've got to go on them if you had a particularly poorly run hospital. I got to see them quite often, so yeah, that says a lot. Oh, blimey, you go home. I need more surgeons. Also missing are epidemics. So you've got a lot of things here that you're not quite trained up yet. You go over there. Now, that's why we've got surgeons walking around doing non-surgery stuff, which in real life indeed they do. You don't spend all your time in the operating theatre, you often have to run a clinic as well. Yes, no epidemics, so that makes the hardest levels a lot easier than they should be. no rats, no epidemics. You remember the epidemics were things like you have to cure so many of a certain type of disease before it spread to other people everywhere, and if the patient left the hospital, even going through all these outside sections, you get fined by the ministry, you know, it's all good fun. Perhaps there's a reason they didn't implement it. It sounds very complicated. And not particularly fair either. I must have lost what I was supposed to be doing. Yeah, I'm really out of practice. That's another thing I've got to apologise for, because it has been June, July, end of August. A month and a half, 2 months. Yeah, 2.5 months since I last played this game, so I'm really out of practice. You're all frazzled out. Right, do I have a consultant surgeon that's not surgeoning? Or even one that is? Yeah. Get out from behind the curtain. I need so many more surgeons, it's not even funny. Surgery is not funny to begin with, but maybe I'll train him to be a surgeon psychiatrist. That sounds rather expensive, so I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. We've got 4 operating theatres, which is mighty impressive, but I haven't got the staff to run them. Right. Are you queuing for this one? No, you're queuing for the next one. I've got 2 psychiatrists. Oh, isn't that a lot of fun? Consultant researcher. An easier way of doing this, and I think I know what it is. Oh, you're teaching, fine. You're being taught, fine. You're not very happy, bonus. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not. For real. Oh, good. So, we'll move you over here. Move you back to that one. I really think you ought to get priority though, seeing as you're on your deathbed. Yeah, you get priority. There's a surgeon somewhere. Where has that surgeon finished recovery? Yes, and now I've lost him. Where's... No, that's a regular consultant. There's a consultant psychiatrist. Oh god, he's reached full school level. Consultant researcher... Consultant... Oh, one of my doctors has become a consultant. Good, just in time. Actually, I don't think that is his name. His name is... Pogbury. What a silly name. Oh dear. I've killed 41 people. I'm supposed to become better, you know. Yes, I know. One of the juniors has become a doctor, and we'll want paying accordingly. And we have a visit from Councillor Crawford Purrs. Oh dear. It's funny to me because I know someone called Crawford. Never mind. What a silly name. I was hoping to get King Bernard of the Netherlands arriving, because over the course of the summer I learnt the Dutch national anthem from watching the World Cup, and it's one that goes and in the first stanza it says something about "I will always remain faithful to the King of Spain," which I think is rather touching, if a little misapplied loyalty. The Netherlands, of course, being once upon a time the loyal subjects of the King of Spain until the Spanish Revolt in the late 16th century. I did about this in A-level history, so I always get a bit finicky. There's a lot of people who call it Holland. It's not Holland. Holland's one of the 7 provinces. This country as a whole is called Netherlands. Well, the Netherlands, or the Dutch, I think. I'm probably going to get somebody from the Netherlands, or indeed Holland, telling me I'm wrong now. But Holland, I believe, is the most populous and wealthiest of the 7 provinces. But it would be a bit like calling England Wessex. The old Anglo-Saxon territory, not Essex, which doesn't represent most of the UK. And I think it's just a suburb of London, or indeed most of this southeast England is. It's just it's a wholly owned subsidiary of London, which I like to call the southeast of England. You've not even got any seats, blimey. I'm going to go around building benches rather than commenting on the southeast of England, which I know very little about. I don't think I've ever been to Kent, for instance. Gone through it to get to Dover. This hospital is so poorly furnished. Somebody needs to be held responsible. Oh, that probably be me. Never mind. Let's have a nice row of benches there. Also, I've never been to the south of England, and never been to Scotland either, so there's an entire north of the island in which I live, which is not a very big island in the grand scheme of things, and it's a place I've just never been to. I've been to the border. Actually, I did drive through Coldstream as well. I got driven through Coldstream. I did have crossed the Tweed. But I've been to the border, where England and Scotland have got signs saying, "Welcome to Scotland. Here's a Glaswegian kiss," that kind of thing. Stretch this. Have I offended everybody? Let me know if I offend somebody. Other places in the UK I've not been to. One thing I don't like about the Scottish referendum is I don't get to vote in it. I think it's rather unfair that only a small minority of the actual population of the British Isles gets to decide whether to break it up or not. But what does my opinion count for? I like YouTube videos, so I'm not of sound mind. Not just YouTube videos, I mean Let's Play videos. I'm not content to just play games, I have to talk. And I also watch YouTube videos, that's even stranger. The idea of, I want to play a game but I don't feel that I want to actually play it. I'd rather watch somebody else play it, because it feels like a bit too much hard work. Where are you going? This hospital's abysmally run, but that's probably because I'm going to blame it on the fact that it's the last level, and the fact that I'm talking, and I'm talking utter nonsense as well. I might get another surgeon, train him up. This is so badly organised. There's 2 surgeons in an empty theatre there, and 3 patients waiting for. Oh. You go there. Oh wait, no, you're being sensible. I was rather over-ambitious with the number of surgeries, evidently. So, I need a scanner, which is still full price. Let's point out everything else is a reasonable price. I might buy a second X-ray actually, because they're pretty nifty. Although I'd be better served by building another GP's office, so that is what I shall do. Along with hiring a doctor to go in it. That's a reasonable size, isn't it? Really hard to tell. See, it's already popular. That's the demand. There's something satisfying about alleviating demand in these kind of games. All these tycoon games, and sort of this demand's been building up, and you'll build something, and then flocks of people will go to something and go, yeah. I can't think of what games come to mind, actually, now that I've said that. I think, yeah, there was a game in the early 2000s called Monopoly Tycoon. I might make a Let's Play of it because there's not many of them, and it's not a... I don't think it was their best seller either. It was made by Infogrames, the same people that made Roller Coaster Tycoon. And you basically build up little businesses in a city based around the Monopoly square. So there's little blocks called things like Old Kent Road in Whitechapel, or Baltimore Avenue, if you're wrong. I don't know. I imagine the American version came first, so all the ones that I know are probably the wrong ones. Things like Fleet Street and Coventry Street and Bond Street and Regent Street and hold on a second, Mayfair, Park Lane, Regent Street, Bond Street. What's the other green one? Then you have the three yellow ones: Coventry Street, Leicester Square, and Piccadilly. Then there's three red ones, which are Fleet Street, Trafalgar, and oh god, what do you want? You trying to interrupt me for? I'm doing important stuff here. Trafalgar, Fleet Street. Oh, what's the third one? It'll come back to me. Then you've got the brown ones: Bow Street, Vine Street, and Marlborough. I think it's Marlborough anyway. Named after either the cigarettes or the general, the famous general from the War of the Spanish Succession, and Winston Churchill's illustrious ancestor, John Churchill, first Duke of Marlborough, who also built Blenheim Palace, named after this famous battle, which gave him his notoriety. I also did a university course on the War of the Spanish Succession, which I'm a big fan of the Duke of Marlborough and the War of the Spanish Succession as a whole. You got the pink ones: Pall Mall, Whitechapel, and something else. I'm doing well at getting 2 out of 3 here. Then you got the blue ones: the Angel Islington, Euston Road, and I can't remember. The Angel Islington, Euston Road, and something else. And then you got the Old Kent Road and not Whitechapel. What's it called? There's Old Kent Road. Oh, it's in Whitechapel, isn't it? I'm getting mixed up with something else. Well, there was a very poor rendition of the Monopoly board. They've only got free parking, which is somewhat unrealistic. You don't get that in London today. I've been to London on occasion. That's one of the places I go. I wouldn't like to live in London. I think it's too expensive, and the quality of life would not be what you would imagine living in the capital to be like. I think it's busy, noisy, expensive, and all the rest of those things. And I think for the amount you get paid more for living in the capital, for working in the capital, but you'll have to pay more in terms of rent and cost of living and all the rest of it. And it's incredibly busy. There's so many people. Well, every time I go to London, it really is like small town boy goes to the big city as they gawping. And so, look at all the people, look at all the tall buildings, wow. But I do have friends that have decided to live in. Why aren't you doing things properly? There it's better. I have friends who live in London, which is the best way to do London really. What are you doing? Oh, you can tell it's a version of sort of 0.30 of an open source version. Sorry, you're going to have to wait because my consultants, surgeons, have just gone mad. Yeah, the best way to do London is to know somebody who lives there and go up and visit every once in a while. I do remember one occasion on the Central line that was so busy during the rush hour. Because I usually go from Friday evening till Monday morning. That way I can get an entire weekend. And I usually go on the morning commute with the person I'm staying with and then depart ways once they go to work. I do a bit of wandering around, a bit of sightseeing, something like that, and then catch the train back up to the provinces. Yeah, I was on the central line, and all I can say is it's a good job I wanted to get off at that stop, because there was no way preventing me doing so from the surge of people. I was literally being carried on by the crowd. It was also incredibly hot and noisy, and if one person had a cold, everybody in the southeast of England would have a cold the next day, because it's so jam-packed in the underground and all that stagnant air, and oh, no. I will want to do that for a morning commute, or every morning. I think it will roll into dispiriting. Never mind. 305 patients cure. Am I... Oh, this is going to take ages. Oh, I'm already running out of... I think I've gone through the list of things I've talked about. I've got in my notes 19th of June, Year 4, Zack the Fallen, and Lord Ariel. Because I missed off the S. I remember quite fondly those... that trilogy, his Dark Materials, Philip Pullman one. As a counterbalance, I did some years later read The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. The S stands for Staples. There's a bit of a fact for you. So, yeah, nice counterbalance. They were quite enjoyable. I got the entire Chronicles of it, so they came in a nice big book. Oh, you're not very happy. That's fair enough, I think. Will you get picked up? No. That's not supposed to happen. Nice is the problem, you have to wait for the animation to finish before you can pick them up. And that is just a pain. Sorry about that, the sound went all funny there for a second. I was panicking somewhat when that earthquake came along, but it looks like a fairly weak one. Size 3? I don't know, my handymen are too efficient, I can't tell. Makes a change. It's starting to look quite vibrant as a hospital now. It's starting to look busy. You're not very happy. In fact, nobody's very happy. Probably because I've not got the heating on. And it's December. I was too busy talking about... Oh, that was another thing I was talking about. 2 people with iron lung. The emergencies in the old game used to be a lot bigger. That was another thing I was talking with Lord Havr about. You can actually see the comments in the previous video. You could go through the entire playlist and try and find them, but I wouldn't. There's a lot of videos. There's only an early one from this one. I think it might have been Greenpool or something like that. We were talking about it. And he was describing how there was always a lot more people in emergencies in the older game. He recounted how he had something like 50 odd people with bloaty head, which sounds amazing. That'd be amazing to watch. But no, I'm only getting 2 people with iron lung. Can't think of that without thinking of that Monty Python sketch where they're all sitting around in the BBC planning department. One of the phrases was, "Oh, I buried an iron lung." No, we've done that one. we can't do that one. That's yeah, BBC naming committee. Someone's knocking at the door. We can't have that. That gives too much away. Speaking of which, I only saw not too long ago that we've run out of money and need to do a tour of the Pythons. I really need to turn that heating up because this is getting expensive, and that's year 4 over and done with, but we're not going to stop now because I'm on a roll. Killed 47. Well, it's not bad considering I've killed 330, but those are not odds that I'd be particularly comfortable with. Plus 12 for repetition, 2,000, 4,000, 1,000, 6,000. Excellent. You're not very happy. I'll turn the heating up in a minute, I promise. Yeah, what was the name of that tour? It was 1 Dead, 5 to Go or something. And I thought it was alright. There was a couple of new sketches I thought were quite funny. But a new song number about the Chinese, I think. Well, I thought it was quite catchy. But you could tell they passed the prime. John Cleese was a liability, frankly. They did a bit of ad-libbing and it was quite funny to begin with. And then did the parrot sketch and with Michael Palin and they just went completely off kilter and it's just liability. It's funny because it's odd, because it's a shame really, because when you see him in the prime, it's very good, and then you see him all as old men. I think it was typified by the fact that he had a gammy knee so he couldn't do the silly walks. And I think that sums up nicely as a metaphor for the thing as a whole. But it was, after all, what was it? We need to pay for John Cleese's divorce cases. Get together tour. I do have a lot of unhappy patients. This is worrying me somewhat. Only somewhat though. I also have far too much money. Maybe I could just pay my staff more. There we go. I also find it a bit odd watching them because they kind of attack at an establishment that doesn't exist anymore. People with bowl hats and pinstripe suits and you know, the kind of, I don't know how to describe it. I guess the pinstriped bowler hatted type, you know, mother went to Oxford and father went to Cambridge kind of thing, and it just can't, that world isn't there anymore. It was 40 years ago, and it just seems like they're taking the piss out of something that's not there anymore. It seems a bit irrelevant. Oh, never mind. I might just barge to the front of the queue. I suppose here's an emergency case. There we go, I've got enough surgeons so that 3 out of 4 of the... Yes, what do you want? 3 out of 4 of the things, operating theatres, are working properly now. I might have lost a what to build. The scanner is still full price, for the love of... That's it, I'm just going to bite the bullet and pay the man. Another point, where am I going to build it then? I saved 2 people out of a maximum of 2. That's boring. I want to save 50 odd people with bloaty head. Hurriedly building inflator room after inflator room. I did wonder what you're supposed to do with the extra space, and that's it. You're supposed to have an overflow when your small meagre facilities here can't cope with it. So I think there's something to be said there, that emergencies need to have more of a sense of urgency. Because that, of course, is the last syllable. That's the last syllable of emergency. Urgency. Urgency. I tried to suggest the last couple of syllables of emergency or urgency. Which sounds like theoretically that should be the case, but I can't quite follow it through. Emergency. Urgency. Urgency. Yes. It's not so much the last syllables, but it's urgency with an M on front of it. Urgency. God, that took a long time. Ooh, there's Councillor Crawford Purves. The hospital this big, I suppose the trouble is that these VIP visits take too long. You've got to keep everything running smoothly. Having said that, for all my years of playing Theme Hospital, I have no idea quite what the VIPs are looking for. There was that one level I did where the first time I came around there was nothing going wrong. It wasn't a very good hospital, I just started building it. No vomit on the floor, nobody dying, and they came back, you've got to go to that hospital, I'm off for a pint. I believe I put it in the description box underneath it. Yeah, and there's other ones that everything's been going wrong. They'll walk around and say, that's fantastic. So it just sounds a bit arbitrary to me. What are you going to do? Oh, that's good, we've got spare consultant surgeons. shame you can't like set rooms. It'd be nice if I had like all the surgeons I could just assign to these 2 blocks here, so they're not wandering around doing regular consultations. That would be a nifty feature, because you can already zone handymen to stay in the one place. Speaking of which, I don't think I've got any handymen for this ward here. It's also really cold in the hospital still. So I want you to stay in parcel 10. Oh wait, no, you're doing the job. Oh. Parcel 10. You could just do a bit everyone then. We've killed 50 people. We've got to stop going to the pharmacy. I just need to think of something, anything I can build there. It's like a blot on the landscape. How do you get to it? You get to it through there and up there. I don't know if it might not be the idea to put a couple more diagnosis rooms in there. Yes! Yes! The scanner is finally a little bit cheaper. I'll take it. Nice big scanner there. Nice big scanner. Nice big smile. I mean big scanner. Probably with 2 radiators, but I'll go around later. Nice and close to the door so you don't waste too much time. In fact, I'll move that screen a bit closer to the door as well. So you have a nice big room, but you don't actually use much of it. That's the efficient way of thinking. And I'll build a second X-ray, because X-rays are pretty cool. I know, as I was saying earlier, X-ray is cool, radiation, what's that? This probably has an element of 50s about it. It like spans across decades, this game does. Spans across decades, that's a bit of a Yoda grammar there. Spans across decades, this level does. Well, you'll have desktop computers there, and great big computers in the research room. You'll also have DNA fixers, but you'll also have gender roles assigned to various professions. All the doctors are men, all the nurses are female, all the handymen are men, and all the receptionists are female. Which admittedly is a 50-50 split. Actually it's not really, because you have more doctors than anything else. Though in my personal experience there is generally about a 10-15 to 1 ratio of women nurses to male. It's wrong, yeah, there is some truth in the thing that most nurses are female, but there we go. It's not the case with doctors. Doctors are a bit more equally split between the genders. Interesting that. Also they're handymen, as they would be in this game, people doing the sweeping and the cleaning. That's a fairly equal gender split as well, from my experience. If you take all the people who clean the floors, change the beds, take care of the... I think they call it ancillary support staff. I don't quite miss about this now. That's ancillary support staff, the ones that, you know, change the beds and do the cleaning and take blood pressure when the nurses are too busy with stuff that you need a nursing course to do. Such as, I don't think they take blood, they change dressings and all this, administer drugs and all the rest of it. That's what the staff nurses do. And you have charge nurses who are in charge of the ward itself. And they're the old matrons, I believe. And it was like the managerial aspect to it. Now what's GP's office there? And then you have one person that's in charge of meals for that ward. As you know, they'll organise everybody's. They'll organise the support staff, the ancillary support staff. I can't remember what they're called now. There's a something manager, but they're in charge of all the food arrangements and managing the ancillary staff and making sure everything's clean and tidy. I don't know how I got onto this subject, but I know a little bit about it. What was the point of leaving that gap there? Wrong button. Actually, I might place the door there. That way you can have some seating. That GP's office. Fine. I don't know if you're really worth it, but it's probably more hassle for me to rearrange handymen's routes. I've put a few seats in. That's the waiting area. Put in a drinks machine and a radiator. I need to start focusing on the more finicky stuff. That kind of makes sense. You can walk through there, across there, through to the second scanner. As long as they are both functioning on the off position, saving me money. How's my reputation climbing? Slowly. I'm on 617. I'm not even got to the point now where we're not talking about winning the level, we're talking about not losing the level as far as the reputation is concerned. I did more money as well, crikey. I thought he had plenty with 500,000, but apparently not. It's a problem you have with stashing money in different games. Railroad Tycoon 3 has a similar problem. There's one mission, I think it's set around Texas Tea. The Texas Tea episode on the campaign, and you have to have a personal net worth, company value, but you also have to have company cash of 10 million, I think. It's really frustrating because what you want to do as soon as you get money is spend it to increase your company value, and it doesn't feel right to just be hoarding cash, which is what you could be using to do other stuff for. What you might do there is put some toilets. Put some toilets at this end. And some toilets at that end. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. 11 clicks. That's reasonable enough. Overkill with the toilets? Possibly. It is something to build though. Try to assign them to different parts of the hospital. So the toilets are for that bit there, those toilets are for that bit there. You could do some toilets over here. So I'll use this annex here to... Oh, fine. Oh, discovered something. Fractured bones. It took a scanner to discover fractured bones. Could you not use an X-ray? That's kind of what they're there for, isn't it? There's a lot of handymen. What's this parcel up here? That is parcel 13. Unlucky for some. Parcel 6. Parcel 11. So what are you all doing in the same parcels? And why are you all so dreadfully unhappy? So we'll get a new handyman for... Oh, him, he looks smart enough. He looks smart, he's got glasses. So I was just thinking that the Khmer Rouge used in Cambodia. Parcel 13, so off you go, because that's not the parcel. Shut up, go, there we go. If you've got glasses, you're an intellectual. To the fields with you. It was, yeah, the Cambodian regime was so bad that the North Vietnamese had to invade to put a stop to it. So, that's saying something. It's the same North Vietnamese that sent millions of people to re-education camps. Well, I guess it's all relative. I don't know what's all relative, but it is. I feel like I'm missing something. It doesn't feel quite right. There's no benches in this one here at all. But there is quite a bit in the way. Plants and stop vomiting. God's sake, man. You're born in a barn. What's the point? There's no staff rooms. So we'll have a staff room in this top corner here. Facilities, staff room. Lots of windows just so people can check to see to make sure the staff aren't having too much fun. Good, right. It's filling up a little bit. I was working on this area before I was rudely interrupted. I do a couple more benches. Oh, what is it? Fine. Bench there. We'll have a drinks machine in the middle there. Oh, the blood machine has been improved. Not significantly though. There's a couple of drinks machines in this section here. I'll have one up there and one down there. And probably a couple of radiators. Looks a bit toasty actually. I'll turn the heating off. You're thirsty? There's a drinks machine. Now this has got a lot of things, but it hasn't got a drinks machine. So I'll place that there. I don't know why I can't place it there. Pick that up and move it across. Go. Chew. There we go. I'm starting to get the feel of corridors now, you know. They're called corridor items, but until it puts me on 1, 2, 9, fine. 300's the limit though. Could do with some drinks machines. Oh no, I've got some down there along with a couple of radiators. There's no drinks machine over here. Imagine how much that vomit must smell. That's been there for years. There's a need for a drinks machine here. Benches, across there, some across there like that, across there, couple across there. More benches. One there, couple across there. 2 radiators. One up at the top there and one down at the bottom there. We'll do with a radiator over that bit to keep all those people there nice and toasty. The research department, you might do quite well for just a couple of benches if I decide to send somebody there. There we go. Right. Is there much more I can do? It seems like I've filled it up sufficiently. That's better. I was wondering when he was going to get around to fixing that. I can't see any significant bottlenecks. I mean, what I could do is just get a whole bunch more of doctors. That seems like a sensible way of doing things. Oh, you're quite tired. Let's get somebody who's quite fresh, who doesn't have a skill. Like him, once he's finished playing on his games. Is he wasting your time on video games? Who would do such a thing? Are you fit and refreshed? Almost. Huh. Hope that didn't cause a problem. Right. I don't want any more researchers. There we go. I just want somebody who's very skilled at very little. Although another surgeon probably wouldn't hurt. You never need any more than 2 psychologists, I don't think. I was going to check something, but I can't remember what it was now. Oh, yeah, I'm going to check if any machines have been destroyed. No, fortunately I'm so advanced in the machines now that earthquakes can come and go as they please. Right. Just going to sit here, have a nice stretch, and think of something to say. So, how are you doing? How's things? I've got to try and involve a bit of audience participation. I have on my Kindle somewhere the YouTube Creator Playbook. Apparently I've got to put a call to action and other things to retain. I've got a problem with viewer retention according to my analytics. I feel like I'm missing something shameful there. Then again, if you're listening this far, you're saying, what audience retention problem? Because we're, what, half an hour in, I think. So if you're still listening, congratulations! Yeah, it actually flagged it up. I looked on my dashboard at the creator tools, and it comes up with various suggestions you can do to improve your channel. And one of them is audience participation, and another one is viewer retention. People start watching, but they only get so far in. I lose a lot of people within the first 30 seconds. I think it's when I start with, hello, welcome to, oh my god, who is this person and why am I listening to it? I don't know, there is a problem with voices, isn't there? I'm guilty of it myself. When you watch a Let's Play or something, and there's, ooh, 9 people with jelly-itis. Now we're talking. Let's buy a new machine. Oh. Oh, that's quite convenient because it's right next to the helipad. There we go. Ah, it's an easy one as well because it's a clinic, so it can't go wrong. Anyway, yeah, I was just saying, I can be so guilty of, like, you'll listen to the first video of somebody and they'll have such an annoying voice, you say, I can't listen to any more of this. Either that or I've got to have the sound turned down, in which case it's not much of a Let's Play then, is it? I don't know, is my voice irritating? Let me know in the comments below. That's the call to action. But what counts as far as analytics is concerned is the viewer retention. It's how long your videos are and how long you can keep people watching those lengthy videos. And the more watching time you can build up, the higher your videos get in like search results and recommended videos. And as far as the YouTube logarithm goes, you rank up higher. Which is why PewDiePie is a millionaire. Which is why he likes him so often, because it was described in, what was it, the Game Theorists? I watched a video on it. I don't usually watch big YouTubers. I think to myself, they've got enough views, I don't need mine as well. Regardless of the fact is they've got there because they're good at what they do. I've been told by a friend though that PewDiePie is not actually that good to watch. But it was described how he'd done so well in this Game Theorist video of how PewDiePie conquered YouTube, something like that. There's the fact that he's moved to so many different locations because the logarithm of YouTube is also localised, so that people will get recommendations from this channel, hopefully, but it will be from people in the UK, or people from the Anglosphere, perhaps, which would be useful because it's a very large space, the Anglosphere. But I don't think it is. I think it's the UK, and the people in America are focused around America. But PewDiePie apparently done a lot of travelling from native Scandinavia down to Italy and then up to the UK, possibly to America. So he's got several audiences from which to gain, several locations from which to gain something with it. He does game analysis or let's plays or something like that. Oh, Councillor Crawford Percy remarked, "That's our super hospital." Well, I should know, I've been in a few. They've all been in a few. Transparency. Licking the objects and falls off, blah blah blah. That took a long time to discover. Crikey. How are we doing with the emergency? I didn't even notice there was an emergency going on. I was too busy talking about PewDiePie. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I just see it written down. PewDiePie? PewDiePie? I don't know. But yeah, as Rocket somehow is able to get people to watch to the end of his videos, which are quite long. So put it all together, and he has a lot of people from a lot of locations watching for a long time. So as far as the YouTube logarithm is concerned, he is the bee's knees, which is why he's always on the book recommended list, along with... It's the same names that just pop up over and over and over again, and every single time I say, I'm not interested. You've evidently got enough views, so mine won't be the issue. That is not a very good idea. Why on earth did I do that? I've broken the game. Oh no! Oh, silly me. Silly me. I tried to get rid of the vomit, and in doing so caused the thing. You see, console, fire extinguisher, radiator, litter. And now all the complaints are building up. Let's slow the game down while I think of something to... just a way out of this. I think it might be a case of turning it off and turning it on again. Have I got auto allow or whatever? Oh, this is such a bad idea. Why on earth did I think this would work? Hold on a second. Well, thank God for autosaves, all I can say. But not quite so much, because funnily enough, it saved it on the 1st of November. I had it flicking around for so long it actually got to the 1st of November. And it actually saved it while it was in that broken state. So, lesson learned, let's not touch the contamination room. Even if we do want to resize it. Councillor Crawford Purves remarked, "Now that's what I call a hospital." I can't imagine any councillor sounding like that now. It's the trouble, it's just, local government is so unworth the time and effort to actually get yourself elected to it, that you just get clowns. Could you imagine a local councillor that you would want in a higher office? I know for my local council team, I think, oh my God, thank God you're located to the local area. Still, never mind. Never mind about asking for a raise, fix the thing. I can see why you want a raise, actually. Massively underpaid. Yeah. Look, you've got your raise now, fix that machine. Please? Whew. Okay, time-wise I think I'm back up to where I was. Yes, 1st of November. So what was I talking about before? I was talking about whatever I was talking about. Oh, crikey, I could do with a new X-ray there. Got a lot of people just wandering around. Again, that's what I want of the patients, if they're staff, not so much. You've got to be joking. Oh no, it's false alarm. I thought the game had crashed on me, but it was just a problem with the graphics cards. If I was not in-game now, to come up with a little pop-up saying your AMD graphics card has stopped working and has successfully recovered. It tells me that every time, but it never tells me why it stopped working. Perhaps because it's a rubbish graphics card. And it's a rubbish graphics card when it struggles to run a game that is 1997, almost 20 years old. Crikey, I feel old. Ooh, big queue for reception. My word, that's a big queue for reception. They all just arrived in one great big bundle. Why is that stuck up there? I don't know. Yeah, it's almost crashed again there for a second. This is making my heart jump. Have a raise. You have a raise. Christmas bonuses! It's Christmas Day! You boy, what day is this? It's Christmas Day, sir. But Scrooge was a busy man, and I can see why he forgot what day it was. Because I forgot what day it was, and I'm not a busy man. I think I was talking about something interesting, wasn't I? Oh, I was talking about big YouTubers, and how I don't watch any of them anymore. I don't see the... I don't really see the point. I mean, they get enough views. It's hit and miss whether the quality of what they're saying or what they're doing is actually warrants the views that they're getting. Sometimes it's just a bit too sleek and professional. And also, you don't forget a sense of community if you're one of 1 million subscribers, for instance. Whereas if you're one of, I don't know, 93 subscribers, hint hint subscribe, hint hint, you'd get a lot more feeling of community, because there wouldn't be that many comments, and there'd be more chance of the video maker commenting on what you've commented, so to speak. Look at that, plus 36. All that spending money on the hospitals paying off. Lot of cash. Excellent. Look at the jump in reputation. 790, I think. Hey, we can't be far away from winning now, surely not. So I'm going to carry on because I can sense it, I can feel it, the winds of change are sweeping over this channel. What was I saying? Oh yeah, subscribe. I'm nearly at 100 and I lost a subscriber last month. I'm sorry about that, probably could have not done the video the last couple of months. Your people are very unhappy. Yeah, fine to me. When I say your people, do you mean my patients or the staff? What's he so unhappy about? It's because I keep on forgetting to put the heating on. Oh dear. It might be interesting to know how. Yeah, I lost a. Yeah, how warm this hospital is. Also, apologising to that lost subscriber, although he won't get it because, or she. Although being a Let's Play channel, the demographics suggest that it's mainly young men, but of a similar demographic to myself that watch these kind of things. What time is it? No idea. I've not got a watch on or anything. I think it's around about lunchtime. Or maybe that's just wishful thinking. Yeah, he'll never get the message. I'm sorry that you felt the need to unsubscribe. And if you watch this for the first time, see, this is the kind of interaction you can have with a small audience. A very small audience, in the case of some of my later Let's Plays of Office Centauri. Subbuys Office Centauri, I don't blame you. It's not good quality material to make a Let's Play of because it's just so long. There's so little to talk about as well. By the time you get to, I think there's, in my first ever Let's Play, which was Let's Play Subbuys Office Centauri as the Morganites, had 72 videos of about 15 minutes in length. And by the 72nd one, there was nothing to say. There's so many cities that just pop up with someone's built this, someone's built this, someone's built this, someone's built this. Oh, by the way, you've won the game. I won by ascent to transcendence, by the way, which is the equivalent of the space race. It's the technology productive victory in standard Civ games. I did consider playing Civilization, but that's got to have been really well done. And besides, I've got requests to make Europa Universalis 4 as the English, and do a bit, well, it wasn't the English by colonial power. And I thought the English are the best choice, not through any sort of patriotic sentiment, although there must be a little bit there, but through the fact that you're an island, so you can just completely forget about the army and just focus all on your navy and all on colonisation, and Europe can go hang. Which I think is UKIP's motto. United Kingdom Independence Party. Europe can go hang. Or it would be if I was in charge. But for some reason nobody's put me in charge of anything. There's certain things I would do if I was in charge of certain bodies. If I was in charge of the English FA, for instance, first order of business would be to kick Swansea and Cardiff out of the English Premier League. Because as the name suggests, it's for English clubs, although we'll allow Berwick to play in the Scottish League because it's just so far removed from anywhere else in England. Yeah, they can be big players in the Welsh League, just as like Celtic and Rangers, as was, were big leagues in the big players in the Scottish Premier League, or the Scottish Pointless League, as some unkind people call it. I couldn't possibly comment myself. I'm not a terribly big football fan. I don't understand the point in watching neutral teams. I'll occasionally pick up on how Nottingham Forest are doing quite well this beginning of this season. Having said that, they did quite well at the beginning of last season. It's only because they did so well at the beginning of the last season that I have to avoid relegation. By the end of the last season, the Billy Davies still has a management style more suited to North Korea, where I think he's now the manager for the national team. If only. Oh, football talk. Oh man. Ugh. Football. What other things did I do? Oh yeah, the Commonwealth Games, they happened recently. I want to know whose bright idea it was to have Jerusalem play as the national anthem, in inverted commas, of England. But it's not. The national anthem of England is God Save the Queen. We just sort of transplanted that onto the rest of the United Kingdom. Jerusalem has no... It's a nice song, and George V preferred it to God Save the King, as it was at the time. I think he remarked, I prefer Jerusalem to God Save the King, and I should know, I'm an expert on the matter. I hear it so often. I'm paraphrasing, of course, that's not nearly as regal. 7 people with alien DNA. Ooh, that's nice. What else? Yeah, I would have also made the Scottish team play not Flower of Scotland, but Scotland the Brave. I don't know why they play Flower of Scotland. Scotland the Brave's got such a jaunty tune to it, and everybody knows it, and everyone can dance to it, I suppose, if you feel so inclined. Everybody knows it. It's what everybody thinks when they think of Scotland. And know they play the Flower of Scotland. I couldn't hum to you. Similarly, the Welsh, if they win a goal, I don't know if they probably win a goal. They win it probably in the rugby or something. I would have Mill of Harlech play. That's another one that everybody knows is so very Welsh. It's a karaoke version of Let's Play. Northern Ireland, I don't know what I would play for that. No, nothing comes to mind apart from Lily Bolello, which would upset all the Catholics in Northern Ireland, because it was basically a song that became popular after the Battle of the Boyne. I think I've heard it described as a song that chased James II out of Ireland. Speaking of which, I think it was a centenary of some kind, the Battle of the Boyne, this June of some kind. This June of some kind, the June. What am I talking about? And why isn't there... Is there a doctor in the house? Yes, but I'm a doctor of philosophy. I'm not actually. Oh god, I wish it wouldn't keep doing that. It looks like it's going to crash. Right, something's got to be done because I can't find a researcher. Is there a doctor in the house? More specifically, a consultant researcher. It would help if I looked in the research room. Oh, there is, but he's tired. He's quite tired as well. They're all tired. Were they out drinking last night or something? As a faculty. You, go, now, quick. Who's unhappy? The handyman. My guy did the thing. Right, where do we need more radiators? There's a couple that need them up there. This is a very slapdash management approach. Nobody should put me in charge of anything. Particularly if I'm going to cause an international incident, if you put me in charge of the Commonwealth Games. Oh, it was things, other things like games that could be used. Rocket Ronnie Jepson. Who's that supposed to be? We've got those professional daredevils. Maybe his name is Rocket Ronnie Jepson. I'm not a fan. I don't see the appeal of people who professionally put themselves at risk. I think it shows off the decadence of a culture where you can have a career in the decadence of an affluent society with universal healthcare. Same with skateboarding. It keeps freezing and it keeps scaring the hell out of me. Yeah, I was looking at the events that you could have for the Commonwealth Games, and billiards was one of them. What a fantastic idea that would be! It's a bunch of posh boys. Very good, very good. Whose turn is it next? That was one. There's others. Fencing you can have, but they didn't have. I'll tell you what, I didn't know to join the Commonwealth Games. I didn't actually catch India winning any medals. Apparently they do, and they ought to, because the number of people that live there, you've got a good pool of people to, you know, do quite well with. But they never come top, they never do particularly well, and what they're doing to do well in are things like hockey and wrestling, which I think is a Commonwealth Games sport. I didn't see why. I initially didn't see why we had to split up the United Kingdom into the home nations to for the Commonwealth Games, because it kind of implies that it was the English Empire and Scotland and Wales and Ireland were colonies. Which I guess Ireland was, so I'll let them off. Scotland certainly wasn't. And it's something they ought to remember in this referendum debate is that it takes two to tango. You also signed the Act of Union in 1704. You got a good deal out of it, as I recall. I think it was to do, one of the cruxes was that they wanted to trade in English ports across the empire and make a lot of money doing it. It was a wonderful period, about 200 years after the signing. Politics just wasn't a big thing in Scotland. You had all this energy, this mental energy was focused on other things like finance and engineering, to name two, in the form of Adam Smith and James Watt. I believe he was Scottish. He certainly learned to trade in Edinburgh before coming down to Birmingham to then make money with the trade that he had learned with steam engines and such, where he teamed up with Watt and Bolton. I also did about the Birmingham Enlightenment at university. You probably can tell that. I was saying, oh yeah, I think people from the Celtic fringes of the British Isles disproportionately joined the army and were part of like a Clive of India's campaign in India, or who'd have guessed it? I don't know, Gordon of Khartoum's mad march to the Sudan. Gordon of Khartoum, by the way, was mad as a box of frogs. He's got himself into a mess somewhere. It's like, I think he disobeyed orders, marched into Sudan to sort out some Sudanese folks that had been riled up to revolt against British interests there, got himself trapped inside of Khartoum by a much larger army, and then required rescuing, which is something that Gladstone was not prepared to do at the time. because it's expensive stuff, and then once you go into a place you end up having to rule it, and that's how Britain managed to end up with its empire reaching into Sudan, which isn't profitable territory, let's be honest. And yeah, they sent a rescue mission which got there just too late, by a matter of days I think. They arrived, the rescue mission arrived down the Nile and arrived at Khartoum, but by that point it was too late and I think he died on the spot. But he did disobey orders to march on. I think he saw himself as something of a crusader. More successful was Clive of India, who has a statue outside of the Cabinet War Rooms in London, which is where the Cabinet War Rooms were where the Cabinet held its meetings during World War II. I don't know quite where it is, but I imagine it's near Whitehall. I think that's everything that's running through my brain. I've got enough money now. That just kind of happened without me noticing. My reputation is sterling. People are quite unhappy. That's a lot better than very unhappy. And all because I've put some radiators in. I can't see any glaring gaps. I might put one here in the heating coverage. I was talking about the Commonwealth Games and I didn't see much of it. With the Olympics it's the same thing. I say, oh, rubbish. And then I'll watch a couple of them and then I'll get really quite into it for a bit. And then I'll look back and say, how did I find that interesting? It's a long way to go. Could have gone up to visit, but Glasgow is quite a way. It's a small island, but it's not that small. Nothing interesting ever happens in the Midlands. London was too far really to go down to see the Olympics. Glasgow was too far north. Nothing ever comes to, you know, Kingdom of Mercia, as it's known. I'd be in favour of a campaign for mercy and independence, because you have a far more viable nation state than you actually would have Scotland. You have a higher population with GDP of greater amount and also less dependent on oil. You think about it, the Kingdom of Mercia goes up to north, the border between Derbyshire and Yorkshire, and goes down to just above London. I think the Thames is the barrier. So from the Thames up to the Pennines, you know, Peak District, from Wales to the border of Wales to the North Sea, is the ancient Kingdom of Mercia, including such big cities as Manchester. Oh no, you wouldn't get Manchester. Oh, would you? No. It's hard to say. Borderline. Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, Derby, Nottingham, Leicester. All these really big, you know, wealthy cities. You have a sizable population, and well, I don't know. It seems like a good idea to me. I mean, if we're going to break up the United Kingdom, we may as well break it up into the pre-Norman Saxon states of Northumbria, Mercia, and Wessex. Possibly break that down into East Anglia, Wessex, Sussex, and well, yeah, that's about right. And then you've got the Welsh and the Picts and Scots up north. Which is nothing else, at least be interesting. You'd feel that if it was done in that sort of manner, the Mercia would become the principal part of the UK, I think. Particularly if you were to break Wessex up into its various constituencies. The trouble that you find is that everything's so London-centric. I think that's one of the problems that the Scots have, is that, oh, everything's done by the Westminster elite in London. And you think, well, oh, the rest of the country feels the same way. Even people in Essex, which is basically just a suburb of London, feel aggrieved that there's this cabal of people in London. And it's all focused around London, and anything that happens in London gets top priority. And you think, well, there's the rest of the country there as well. I promised myself I wouldn't talk about the Scottish referendum. Never mind. That's twice I've done it. Where are we on? July. And there's absolutely nothing to do. So I will just zoom out. And now that's something you couldn't do in the original game. I can't actually see the part of the hospital. Never mind. There's nothing. I need to fill. There's nothing to fill this space up with. I could build a second inflator room, but that just seems like frivolity. Hello? Yep, 37. 5 people with ruptured noodles. That's more like it. 5 people that require a costly and lengthy procedure in an operating ward. There's at least a hint of a challenge there. I mean, I'm ready to handle 10 people with ruptured noodles. The game's stopped again. I don't think it'll start again in our lifetime. It's paraphrasing. Oh no, it has done. That's paraphrasing Earl Grey, who was foreign minister at the time of the outbreak of the First World War. And lamps are going all across Europe. They shall not be lit again in our lifetime. And whose fault was that, Lord Grey? Earl Grey. Forcing us into a war that we needed to go into. Because, by the way, the Treaty of London, which protected Belgian neutrality, didn't necessarily mean we had to go marching in to protect it. We didn't in 1870, 1871. There was no reason to do it in 1914. It's more to do with the fact that Earl Grey had signed an understanding, an entente. And I'm not going to zoom out because I don't think the game likes it. So let's zoom in. Oh, thank you very much. An informal naval treaty with the French, in which they left their entire northern coast free from devoid of any ships, on the understanding that we would take care of the northern coast, and the Channel and the North Sea and all the rest of that, whereas they would focus on the Mediterranean. But the question is rightly asked, what major threats did the French have on the Mediterranean that they had to take all their fleet away? So it became a matter of practicality to go to war against the Germans to protect the French north coast from a German navy that had significantly expanded over the 1910s for prestigious reasons, which culminated in the Battle of Jutland in 1916. The only time that dreadnought battleships have gone face to face in battle, and it was a stalemate. Well, it sounds quite interesting. Dan Carlin is doing a piece at the moment, a history podcast. I mentioned it before in some other Let's Play. But he's doing something about Armageddon. What's it called now? Build to Armageddon, I think it is. And hour long. They're all like audiobooks rather than podcasts, going through the First World War. And the most recent one, number 4, deals with the 1916 Verdun and the Somme and the Battle of Jutland. And Battle of Jutland sounds far more interesting than it does on paper, which was British fleet meets up with the German fleet, they exchange blows. The German fleet does more damage tactically, but strategically has to withdraw, and the British maintain the status quo, which is basically sums it up, I think. God, I wish it wouldn't keep breathing, this is driving me mad. But the actual manoeuvres within the battle itself are far from uninteresting. But it does pale in comparison to other things that were happening that year, such as the Somme and Verdun. But of course we all know about that because we've all gone quite World War I mad. Particularly the BBC has. They can't stop talking about it now. It's gone to the point now where they've gone from they're at risk of talking about it too much and turning people off. I think I saw a report warning that. You get to the point you go, okay, we get it. It's terrible. Anyway, I failed to see what the First World War has got to do with this, apart from the fact that some of my battles in Rome Total War have like the feeling and the feeling of this song. Right, how am I doing now? Still need to cure another 100 people, 120 people. Come on, get a move on. 4 sick people, let's go! I'm wafting my arms in a desperate bid to funnel people in before I say something else that might offend. Oh dear. I really hadn't planned to make this as long as it was going to be. But I'm rather enjoying it now, I'm getting into the swing of it. I apologise if you look at this and you go, oh god, it's an hour long and he's just talking and talking and talking, which indeed I am. But I like to think I'm going places with this. Very little actual gameplay, and for that I apologise. It's going to take even longer if the game keeps on freezing like that. I don't know what's causing it. I can't remember graphics card failing this often. Get stuffed. Look at that! I've got $1 million. Crikey, that's a bit dated, isn't it? When did Austin Powers come out? I seem to remember it from my childhood. And although I'm not that old, I am in the mid-20s now. Crikey, why are you... I'd take a chance. He's still being diagnosed and he's that close from death. How inefficient is this hospital? Oh, I could build another pharmacy. Can do, but won't. Oh, it's something to fill the space up with, isn't it? Stick a nice big pharmacy there. And a fracture clinic. Please no, keep all the nursing positions. Oh, I could build a ward. They take up space, don't they? At risk of singing along to the music, I've already done quite enough singing. No wait, if I build that there, I won't have room there. But if I build that there, I won't have enough room for a fracture clinic. Also, pro tip, don't cover your hands while you're trying to talk and do that. That's, oh, come on! There's something going on here. Somebody's at fault, and it's either the game, or the graphics cards, or me as a person. And I'll put the fracture clinic in there because it's over 2000. Hello, marvellous, excellent, superb, great, smashing, lovely, great. I don't know what those awards were, but if you want to find out and tell me, pause the video and check what they are. I'd be much obliged. There we go, let's put those in there. And that's filled up that space rather quite nicely, actually. Put a few benches in. A few down across here. And then we can have one there, one there, one there, and one there, one there. That gives a nice communal atmosphere. We'll put a drinks machine in wherever one will fit. There, there, and a couple of radiators. One there and one over there. There we go, look at that. Perhaps it doesn't like me being at the zoom level that I'm at. Options. Well, there's no way to change the zoom level up here. This all has to be done with the automatically grant wage requests. Frozen me again. I can't believe this. It's like the game wants you to, like, please don't go when this level finishes. You're not going to spend any time with me anymore. I think that's the right zoom level. Hard to tell. That's about it, isn't it? Maybe there's too many people. Or humanoids, as the game calls them. Probably just as well, considering you get like aliens and hairy ISIS folks and jelly ISIS folks. Now, 6, 7, 8. So people are quite unhappy. It's too cold. Probably forgot to turn. Oh no! I'll turn the heating up a little bit more. It's a bit cold in the research lab, but I think that's because it's too full of expensive equipment. No, I was just too cheap to pay for $20 for a new radiator. It's a bit cold down there. One there and one there. Hopefully that wouldn't crash the game. It's a bit cold in these rooms up here as well. Why am I slowing the game down? I'm doing this to fill time up. It's a bit counterproductive if I then slow the game down in order to do it. Oh, I went an entire month without the game freezing on. I might be well advised to just restart the level. No, not restart the... for God's sake, no. Shut it down and start it up again. But I'm so close now, it'd feel counterproductive. I could do with another radiator here. Now I'm thinking, Dean, if I put another radiators in, I can just put the heating at mid-level and then just leave it. Yeah. Right. The cardiogram's gone. It's no great loss. The electrolysis clinic's gone. That is a great loss. Probably lost a couple of members of staff. They will always be remembered, if indeed I could remember who they were to begin with. Right, so new cardiogram there. It's poor practice to put diagnosis rooms right next to clinic rooms, but hell, who cares about practice at this stage in the game? It must have been a pretty nifty earthquake. Clinics. Nice, great big electrolysis one. Bigger. There we go. Perhaps that's not such a good idea, because if it blows up, that's a lot of space wasted. Probably going to need another radiator there. Frozen again, as you do. I didn't have this trouble at the beginning of the video. Selection of benches, but let's not go overboard. Oh, we need to hire some more nurses. Drinks machine and a radiator. And there respectively. You'll do. Now, are you queuing for the pharmacy? No, you're queuing for the ward. Rocket Willie Jepson's going to look at that and he's not going to be impressed. Whoa! I almost broke the DNA fixer. Also, how powerful was that? 7? It was a 7 on the whoa scale. Actually, I could do with a new shower. That's better. I don't remember earthquakes being quite that devastating. Could do with a new operating table there. That's all fixed. That's fine. Well, no wonder they blew up then. It's 10. I don't think there's any. Yeah, that doesn't have a dedicated handyman assigned to it. So that is parcel number 3. Damn, missed it. This time's the time. Let's allow the game to crash. There we go. So, I'll need another one, another handyman for parcel number 14. All parcels 14, there we go. Right. Where are we now? 717. And somebody's unhappy. Do I care? Probably not. Yes, I'll take your concerns to hand. You're thirsty, so there's a drinks machine right there, you lazy devil. There's an emergency. 10 people with 30-degree sideburns. Yes! Do I have a psychiatrist? Yes, I do. And there they all are. You can't actually see the sideburns on them. It's a pity. But then again, that might have been a bit of a faff to deal with, because they would have to have gone behind the screen, duck a little bit, come back up, and oh, when you're out of battery. Excuse me a second. Right, I'm okay now. Good. Psychiatry is an easy one to cure. Just lie down, up they come, lie down, up they come. God, I don't know what people are always moaning about, depression and whatnot. Just go to a psychiatrist, lie down on the couch for 30 seconds, come up again, cured. That's to be $1,166, please. That's an accurate portrayal of psychiatry there. Cured 10. He's unhappy. I don't even know what I was asking or how much he's getting paid. I no longer care about the running of this hospital. And yes! We've done it! I've treated 87%, I've got more than enough money. I've got enough money to buy a horse. My reputation is almost spotless. Dear Andy, who the hell is he? Your career has been exemplary, and you're an inspiration to all of us. Thank you for running so many hospitals and doing so well in every job. Oh, let's not get carried away. We would like to grant you a lifetime salary of $32,770. Let's not break the bank. I would ask simply that you travel by official open-topped car from city to city, giving lectures about how you've achieved so much so fast. Again, let's not get carried away. It took 2 months to get from this video to the last one. You're an example to every right-thinking person. And without exception, everybody in the world regards you as a supreme asset. That's it. Every right-thinking person. I'm going to puff my chest up now. Well, there we are. I'm going to return to that. That is that. That's this Let's Play. That was not really Dr. Peck Plays, not really themed hospital. All 12 levels, warts and all, more warts than all, and this makes it all worthwhile. Drink it in. I've given home a name now, haven't I? Oh dear. I am a supreme asset, and the game, true to form, the game has crashed on me. Well, that was that. I had to edit in that video later. So there's that. Bit anticlimactic for you, certainly for me. It's just given months of my life to the thing. That's it. later congratulation and a video I had to put in afterwards. But thank you very much for watching. The new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Thank you again. Thank you very much again for listening. And I will see you sometime in the near future. Goodbye.